What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Tuesday, March 16th? Yes, gets it. I didn't even have to look. You didn't even see my eyes drop down to see what the date was. Tuesday, March 16th. That's what we've got going on today. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comments section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Damian Lillard, Ricky Rubio, Emmanuel Quickley, Trae Young, and Victor Oladipo on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites? My top 5 plays for today? It's time to find out. All right, first up, we're going to number 5, LeBron James. Small forward eligibility, 10,400. Playing on the back-to-back, projected for 55. The goal is just 58. He's in the optimal lineup a third of the time. Now, I think he plays the full freight if this game stays close. 36 minutes, 1.52 fantasy points per minute. Huge usage, 35%. 29, 9, and 8. We know what we're getting out of him here, but this is a pace-up spot for LeBron against Minnesota. Clearly, not a very good team in general, not a good offense, not a good defense, not a good anything in Minnesota. LeBron should be able to do sort of whatever he wants to do here, and he'll do as much as he really needs to. I'm hoping the game stays at least a little bit close, but 10,400 for LeBron James at a small forward spot on a slate where we have a ton of value. Some of it we're going to get to. There's no real issue with paying up for LeBron James today. I think it's really easy to do, and that is why you see him at the number 5 spot. Next up at number 4, we're going to the point guard spot, and we're grabbing Ben Simmons, 8,200, projected for 44.5. The goal is 51. He's in the optimal lineup 35% of the time. Sixers are going to be without Joel Embiid for an extended amount of time. Simmons, much higher rates with Joel Embiid off the floor. 1.27 fantasy points per minute in this spot. 25% usage, 19 points, 6.5 boards, just shy of 10 assists, 9.2, 2.5 stocks. And this is a terrible matchup. They lose 3.7 possessions over their average just by taking on the Knicks. They're the slowest team in the league. This is generally a fantasy wasteland. But Ben Simmons makes up so much from Joel Embiid being out and the price still being down that he's able to get to my number 4 overall play. This one's a no-brainer for me. I want to have a lot of Ben Simmons. 8,200 is just not a price tag I can get away from. He's going to be much higher than 8,200 over the next couple of games. Once the price restabilizes with Embiid out, you got to get there today. Next up at number 3, we're heading to the shooting guard position. We're going to SHAI GILGEOUS-ALEXANDER, 8K, projected for 44. The goal is 50. He's in the optimal lineup 36% of the time. Now, you know what you're getting out of SHAI. 35 minutes. In this case, no Baisley, no Al Horford. 1.27 fantasy points per minute, 31% usage, 27, 6, and 5 in a really nice spot against the Chicago Bulls. Slight pace up spot for Oklahoma City. They are mixing and matching their rotation right now. It looked better for them their last time out, but I like this spot for SHAI going up against whoever is playing for the Bulls. I like that pace up spot. I like the fact that the defense is fine, nothing too crazy, but SHAI dominates the ball when Al Horford is not available. 31% usage is crazy. The fact that he's 8K, I love it. Even better, the fact that he is a shooting guard and not a point guard with Ben Simmons makes things a lot easier. SHAI just looks great at the 2. Next up at number 2, we're going to small forward, 6K Kevin Porter Jr., projected for 35. The goal is 43. He's in the optimal lineup 36% of the time. Still have to wait for a bunch of news coming out of Houston. We might have Daniel House back. We don't know the status of Ben McLemore, but I think Kevin Porter playing 30-plus minutes for the Rockets is here to stay. Normally a 0.93 fantasy point per minute guy. He's at 1.1 in this matchup. 27% usage, 19 points, 5 assists, 4 boards, 2 stocks. Slight pace down spot actually against Atlanta, but I don't really get too worried here. I still don't think this price is correct given who's out. They're not going to give these minutes to anybody else. So at 32 minutes, I love Kevin Porter. You get him at a small forward spot that's generally hard to fill. I think he pairs very nicely with LeBron James. And to me, I want to roster these Houston guys until they get more than like 8 or 9 healthy bodies on a given day. And right now, it doesn't seem like they have that. So Porter's minutes seem as safe as they get. 6K is just not a big enough price. Now, before we get to that number one contender, one last reminder to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and then hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Type in twitter.com/Josh Engleman. Click that follow button because that's the only way you're going to get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. And then slide on over to the comment section of this video. It should be right underneath the video. Just head down to that section. Let me know who your favorite and least favorite contender is for today's slate. And now the number one contender for today, small forward eligible, flat minimum Kenyon Martin Jr., KJ Martin Jr., whatever you want to call him. 26 fantasy point projection, 34-point goal, optimal lineup 36% of the time. I think this is a good play whether Daniel House plays or not. If Daniel House happens to be out, it's a no-brainer play. If House is in, still a great value. I'm only giving him 26 minutes. I'm trying to be pessimistic. A fantasy point per minute, 20% usage, 11, 6, 1.5, 2 stocks. Same matchup that Kevin Porter has. Slight pace down spot against Atlanta. Again, he's the flat minimum on a team that doesn't really have a lot going on, and I think getting Martin minutes is kind of interesting for them when they're shorthanded. But at the $3,500 price tag, I don't really have a lot of additional details that I need to add. Flat minimum at small forward is a spot that I just want to be. You can pair him so easily with LeBron James. You can pair him very easily with his teammate, Kevin Porter Jr. Don't mind that at all. Unquestionably, I like Kenyon Martin as a value play. If Daniel House is out, I assume he's the most popular value play on the slate. He might be anyway, but if House is out, I think that's where we end up. Martin's not leaving this list unless we find out that he somehow isn't playing today. This is the preferred paydown option. Get Kenyon Martin Jr., number one contender. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Tuesday, March 16th. No live before lock for me today, so it's just the strategy show. Come join Lofty and I as we break it down. Watch the early process show. I've already got that one up on YouTube. We'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of the Contenders. Good luck today, everybody.